always have an extra iron in the fire. Hey, I am Chuck the bureaucrat, and Lieutenant Colonel Schultz showed up with a fire in his belly. He had just finished battalion command, and there was this one particular policy that was the bane of his existence. It had something to do with how maintenance hours were maintained for his tanks. So he was kind of excited to find out he was headed to a place where someone could fix this policy. But now that he's been here a while, he can't really seem to get anybody interested. I mean, they nod along politely and they agree that something needs to be done, but pretty much that's where it ends. So one morning he brings this up with Joe, and Joe says, "Well, what do you expect?" "Well, I expect people to do something about this stupid policy." "What people?" "The ones in charge of the policy." "Who are they?" "I don't know. I guess they work for General McNulty." "Why would they do anything?" "Well, I told General Foster about it at my initial office call, and she said it sounded like a good initiative, and I kind of figured she'd pass it along to General McNulty." And Joe just smiles and shakes his head, and he says, "Do you have any idea how busy the general officers in this building are? They get more than enough work from their bosses, and they don't need any recommendations from people like you." "But this matters." "Sure, but you're approaching it the wrong way. If it's so important, you're going to have to do it in your own spare time." And immediately, Schultz starts backpedaling. "Well, I'm kind of busy." Joe says, "Look, if it's important to you, but you won't put the time and effort into it, what makes you think anybody else is going to?" Schultz kind of scowls, and Joe goes on. "It's a good idea for you to have a personal project, something near and dear to your heart that doesn't have a GO or a colonel ramrodding it along. And you'll find ways to time your activities so that they take advantage of downtimes, and in some cases, your senior rater will even see you doing good work on your own initiative. Me personally, I always have a couple of pet projects going." Schultz looks at him suspiciously and says, "Really?" Joe goes, "Ha ha ha. I think you're missing my point here." But Schultz smiles and says, "No, I think I see what you're saying." Joe says, Good. But there's a couple of cautions you need to keep in mind. Like, you gotta get your day job done. If you drop the ball on something because you're chasing butterflies, there is no excuse. And then, it's a good idea to make sure your boss knows what you're up to. I mean, nothing ruins a rating like secretly doing something that your boss doesn't want done. And, whatever it is, it's a good idea to stay in your lane. People don't mind you working on something your office legitimately does, but you start poking around uninvited in other people's business, and then you start setting off alarms." Schultz says, "Okay, but I don't really know how to do this." "Well, that's all part of the learning process. And who knows, you might actually make a difference." And now, if you want to see another secret that nobody is telling Lieutenant Colonel Schultz, watch this video.